Hello, my name is Matt Nolf. I'm with PNG Technologies out of Michigan. We're a supplier of custom natural gas and propane kits for generators. Today we're going to be showing you the Honda EU2200i. Now this is the same as the EU2000. It's the same kit for it. And then also the Companion that they make for this when you parallel them up together to make double the wattage. We'll go ahead and show you the steps on doing the propane kit, and then we'll show you the natural gas. We get a lot of calls, even though this is a little unit, still a lot of people like to be able to hook them up to natural gas to their house. So we'll go ahead and get started on this video and show you the steps on that. Okay, first thing we're going to do here is turn the unit to the side. We're going to be where the gasoline carburetor is and your air cleaner, so you'll be on the choke side. So go ahead and remove the cover here. It's a fill up. And then everything we're going to use pretty much from here and out is going to be that Phillips or a 6 millimeter socket's what I've been using. So go ahead and loosen the two nuts on here. We'll get them off. Okay, and then we have to remove the cover here because there is one nut back in the bottom that we're going to pull off. You don't have to remove this piece, just this section here. And this also is a 6 millimeter bolt down here. Just remove that off. And this will give us access to the carburetor. All right, go ahead and pull this. Now this rubber boot here, just pull out of the block and just set this aside, and we'll show you the next procedures on that. Okay, now what we're going to do is go ahead and just unclip the top gas hose here. It's just held on by a little clamp there. Pull your carburetor off, just lay it down to the side, and we'll go ahead and remove the gasket here. Now we have to pull the studs out here. Now there's 2 bolts back in here. We'll go ahead and get those 2, and these are again 6. So let's go ahead and break those loose. And the reason we have to do this is we have to change the length of the studs here. We'll give you new ones for that. That way you can accept our new adapter on there. But before we put this all back together, we're going to mount the regulator assembly, because with this off it makes it a little bit easier to do that. So let's go ahead and get this out. Now there is a gasket back there, be careful with it. Go ahead and set that to the side. Now you got room up in here to be able to work. And we'll go and show you the procedures on setting up the regulator assembly. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and mount our regulator assembly. All right. Now what I do is you'll set it up on the top here, and then you don't want to center it between the handlebars, okay, or the handle. You want to pull it back till you're kind of even with the back one here, and then you're going to come in from about the lip here to the hole, the first hole, about 1 inch, right in that area. And then we'll go ahead, just make sure it looks nice and clean. You got clearance underneath. Go ahead and line that up where it looks nice and straight. Take a marker, go ahead and mark your 4 spots there. And the reason I kind of didn't mount it in the center of the handle here is we have to install our bulkhead, and that's going to go here. That way we got access to run our hose up to this point and then down from here to our carburetor. This way we just don't have a hole drilled here and there's no grommet. You got something to support the system, and it makes it nice for when you go natural gas too. So that's why I chose to move it back a little bit, and you can kind of see it's not set centered. It's towards this back side. So we'll go ahead and show you how to drill that out now. Okay, now I use a 5/16 drill bit. There's 1/4 inch that's going in here. Just gives you a lot of a clearance. Now before you drill them, just kind of take you a little rag and tuck it up. Cover your intake up there. You don't get no debris down in there. And this is very thin, so it doesn't take much to go through this at all. So you don't even have to clean the holes up or anything. It's all pretty clean out. So there's that step there. We'll show you the next steps on mounting the bulkhead. Okay, now I'm drilling the bulkhead. We're going to mount it up in this area here. closer up to the handle, give you clearance for the bracket. That's all you need. Now this is obviously, you'll end up putting this together. This will go through the unit. So we'll just kind of line it up there. Just make you a mark. There's real no measurement. Just make sure you got clearance for everything. And then we'll install all this when we go ahead and drill this out. Now what I use is I use a step drill bit on these. Okay, you can pick them up at Harbor Freight, or you know, a lot of your Grangers, things like that will have them. You're going to drill this out to approximately 5/8, just to give you enough clearance, obviously, to install this bulkhead in there. So we'll go ahead and get this started here. Check it out a little bit more. There we go. We'll clean that up, and we'll go ahead and show you how to get that installed on there, and we'll clean all this burrs up and stuff. Okay, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get our bulkhead installed. Now we want to install this bottom one on here first, and then we can slide it through. So we're going to put some compound on it. All right, and we'll go ahead and tighten this fitting up here on there. I know you can't see what I'm doing here, but I am just tightening that up a little bit. You're only dealing with 6 ounces of pressure on it, okay? Now what we're going to do is we'll get your bulkhead set up. Just drop it through, okay? So make sure you got clearance there for the tank and everything. Let's go ahead and pull this up. Now you do want to, you know, the farther you mount this bracket up here, and you can even bring this bulkhead back a little bit, okay, which isn't going to hurt you. And that way your hose doesn't rub on the inside. So let's go ahead and tighten this up. Get started on there. And this is 1 inch. So go ahead and get you could use 2 crescent wrenches too if you'd like. Go ahead and get this tightened down. And you don't have to over tighten these. I mean, you're taking brass to plastic here, so. Snug there. Good to go. Now what we're going to do is install our other fitting up top here. Put you some pipe compound on it. Okay. And this is 9/16 on these, but again, crescent wrench is fine. Again, you don't have to really overexert them. Just, there you go. Tighten it up, and then we'll show you the procedures on mounting the regulator on here. Alright, now we've got our bulkhead assembly mounted. We'll go ahead and get our regulator assembly mounted. Now all this will come with the hardware also. Just go ahead and get all your bolts ran through. And then what we'll do is we'll give you a lock washer, flat washer for the back also. Just got to kind of feed them all on there at one time. Okay, there's one. A couple more here. The back ones are a little tougher to get to. And I know you can't see up in here, but well, I might have to hold one on. Yeah. And then feed the lock washer on. Once you get all that, you can kind of just hold it up and get your nut started back there. It's such little tight spaces, but oh, fix that one out. Alright, got that. And we'll get the other ones on here. These front ones are a little bit easier to get to. And I got one more here. Let me grab another nut. Okay, last one, and then we can tighten it all up here. And these are 7/16, so I'll just get you a socket, or you can use a couple wrenches. Again, if you don't have any of that, you can use a crescent wrench. Go ahead and lock those down good. Couple more here. I mean, it's pretty simple little unit, but we mounted all this before we did the adapter, because once you get the carburetor on there, you can't reach up to do any of this. So that's why we did this first. So I'll tighten that up. There we go. And we'll show you the next procedures on that. All right, now we've got our regulator assembly mounted, our bulkhead. We can go ahead and get our carburetor back on here. Now again, remember when we pulled this out earlier, this is what they come with, okay? This is the original from the factory, okay? We'll go ahead and get rid of our paper towel in there. All right, well, these aren't long enough to accept our adapter because our adapter is going to pull it away. So we will give you new ones to replace them with. You just pull them out, slide ours back in, make sure your gasket's back up there. And again, my hands are going to be in the way in a lot of this video here on this because there's just no room up in there to be able to show you exactly. I'll try to keep them out as possibly as much as I possibly can. And we'll go ahead, tighten these up. And you can notice the gasket didn't come loose. Make sure that these are square because these are square nuts. They're pulled out before you tighten that down. Turn them in there. Make sure you just kind of hold your finger back on it. Pull them. And make sure that they won't turn on you. And then we'll go ahead and tighten these down. Again, just make sure that they're in there right before you lock it down. Go ahead and tighten them down. You don't have to over crazy them. It's only plastic there. Okay, and then slide their gasket back on. Okay, and then put the gasoline carburetor back up. All right, go ahead and connect the hose back. All right, you got that portion on there, and then we'll show you the next procedures. All right, now we've got our gasoline carburetor back on there. They have the existing gasket on there, so you have that. Now when we install our adapter on there, you kind of just want to tuck the hose back up on this back side, and then just pull that down, slide it over there. Take the gasket we supply you, put over there. Go ahead and install the air cleaner cover back on. Now remember, you have this boot that has to slide back in there, so go ahead and get that lined up first. Slide it on. Get your studs lined up here. All right. Go ahead and get the two nuts started here. That'll hold you up. Now be careful on this. This is delicate. I have actually cracked one at one time. It's been a while, but I'm very cautious when I do that now. So I'll go ahead and get that set up there. And we'll get our nut or our bolt back here. Get that lined up. Okay, get that tightened up there. Just kind of not over tightening them right now. I just want to kind of get them all in line. Pull everything together at once if we can. Again, you don't have to lock down on these very tight. Just snug them up. All right, that's that procedure. We'll show you the next one. Okay, the hose we tucked in, we're going to go ahead and put it to the bottom of our bulkhead. Make sure you got your clamp on there. Just kind of pull the hose down. I'm going to kind of reach that up in there. It's a barb. You can pull that away a little bit too. Get that set up on there. It's a tight fit in there, that's for sure. It doesn't have to go all the way up on it. As long as you've got room there. All right, then we'll pull our clamp up on it. We'll go ahead and get that tight, and then we'll show you the next procedures on it. All right, now we've got everything installed on there. We'll go ahead and get our hose connected to our bulkhead. And we'll bring the hose up to the top of the regulator here. Get that connected. Get our clamps brought down. It's a pretty simple little unit. This is a nice unit too, it really is. I like this. It's compactable, sounds good. So that's that step there. We'll show you the next procedures. Okay, we've got everything set up. I mean, we're ready to put the cover on. Everything's tucked back in there nice. It looks good. You've got no issues with anything being in the way. Just get it set up, lock your door back down, and we'll get this thing hooked up. I'll run it on propane first, and then I'll show you the natural gas steps. Okay, now we're going to hook this up to propane at first. When you run natural gas, I will start off with that before we hook up our propane. You will not use this obviously for natural gas. This is strictly propane. This is your high pressure regulator to reduce tank pressure from around 110, 115 psi down to 6 ounces. Now for natural gas, you would remove this bushing and this fitting and run your natural gas feed to this. We always recommend 3/4 inch hose. If you decide to use quick connects, do not use the ones that are orifice for grills or furnaces or things like that. They will not work for you. You'll see it on our website. We will have the correct quick connects for those. So first, let's go ahead and get our propane tank hooked up. Now, these are male threads going into the female side. If you look at the tank, a lot of people are used to the barbecue grill ones with the OPD. These are different because these, again, aren't orificed. So let's go ahead and get that screwed into there. Get that set up and tightened. And then we'll come over here and connect to our generator. These you do not use pipe rope on, they're flare fittings. So let's go ahead and lock that down. We'll turn our propane on. Our ball valve's already on. Now this is your power adjustment, and I'll say this before I start running it. Sometimes I can get them to fire immediately. Other times I have to play with this adjustment a little bit, and it all depends on the situation of the generator, if it's new, if it's old, if there's a lot of hours, if it's worn out. But that's why there's an adjustment, so you can be able to do that. On the back of this unit, there's a manual primer button. Go ahead, make sure your eco is off, all right, because you don't want to start it on an idle. Go ahead and hit the back primer button, all right. Now, here is a very crucial thing you need to make sure. That is off completely, all right. This is to run it on gasoline. When you run it on propane or natural gas, just click it up. You'll hear it click right to the fuel off. That shuts off the gasoline in here. That way you don't have your other gasoline running into the unit. So let's go ahead and hit the button on the back. Give it a couple pulls. There you go. Now we'll take it down to the idle. Make sure it's still smooth. See how it's stumbling out a little bit? Let's go ahead and loosen that nut up. Pull that out a little bit until she's smooth. Take it upstairs again. I have to make a little adjustment. There you go. Lock that down. part of that setup. We'll show you the next procedure. Okay, that's the custom kit design that we did for the Honda EU2200i. Again, this fits just the EU2000i, and it also fits their Companion. So again, our kits are custom kit. They are not a universal throw-in-the-box kit. We get a lot of calls on that, people competing kind of against price and things like that. It's hard to compete price-wise to just throwing components in a box and shipping them out, and hopefully they all work for you. We take the steps to make that easier for you. Again, custom kits, that's our main focus on here, to make it easier for you as the consumer, to make sure that you get something that works proper for your unit. So I appreciate you watching this video. I hope it helped out a lot. If you're interested in purchasing this kit from us, you can go to our website at pngtechnologies.com, or we can be reached at 734-992-2648. Again, thank you very much. I hope this helps out. You have a wonderful day.